Voltron Network.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC versus Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, and I'm your regular DC fanboy. And once again, in the red corner, representing Marvel Comics, is my boy Ed. How you doing, man?
Doing
It's
great,
good, isn't it?
as
It's
always.
always good.
Amazing.
Always good. Always good.
I woke up this
Yeah.
morning. I didn't die. That's good enough.
Oh, yeah. That seems to be the level nowadays,
Yeah,
isn't it?
there's not much else
I
in this
woke
world
up
to
and
look
didn't
forward
die,
to.
basically. Yeah, that is the thing, man. Yeah, I survived the next day. We're going back to like caveman times now, isn't
Yeah,
it? Whereas just like I woke up
low
and I
expectations.
didn't wake up dead. Exactly. Didn't wake up dead, man. So yeah. So guys, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We've got some Spider-Man universe kind of stuff, Boba Fett, Peacemaker, some Batman stuff there, some David Goyer, and also we've got one of our insiders who has seen the Batman, who gave us some information before about Justice League, who we had the opportunity to ask a few questions about the Batman as well.
Non-spoiler.
So we're talking about that as
Yeah.
well, non-spoiler, obviously. Yeah.
Don't
So
worry,
we're
guys.
not
You can listen
we're
to
not
it.
gonna we're not gonna do. We didn't want to spoil it for ourselves there either, man. So in the news this week, we'll just briefly go through this, right? um the there's so much weird stuff that is going on at the moment in the news, right? Like, just generally, the when I read this thing, I was thinking, okay, is this April Fool's? Because this is the most nuttiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's basically the new Justice League comic. So have you heard about the new Justice League comic?
What? Oh, what they're killing off the big three, the Trinity.
No. No. So there's a new Justice League comic, and it's called the Jurassic League, right?
What?
And it's basically Superman is like, same origin as Superman, right? But obviously they're messing up the timelines a bit because there's we know like ancient history is very kind of spaced apart here by hundreds of millions of years. But you basically got Superman. He lands, and he's raised by a family, but he's raised by a family of cave people, right? But but he's a baby brachiosaurus, right? He's a baby
What?
brachiosaurus.
They're
And then
actual
you've got
dinosaurs.
Batman, an actual, yeah, and Batman is a Allosaurus, and Wonder Woman is a Triceratops. And the Joker's a Velociraptor, right? And seriously, dude, it's called Jurassic League, man. Honestly, you got to check it out for the
No.
absolute comedy, man.
Oh,
So
I was at
yeah,
first going to be like,
it's so fun.
that's an interesting what if type story that they're just still humans, but in that time period, and maybe like, I don't know, Vandal Savage or somebody's their big nemesis they have to go up against. But for them to actually be dinosaurs, come on, go away. Who wants that?
Legit dinosaurs, man. This is the thing, like sometimes when I think, man, I've got some crazy ideas about stuff, there's always somebody who's got an even more bizarre, whacked out story there, basically. So yeah, it is absolutely mad, man. In other weird news, sticking with DC, have you read the interview with David Goyer this week at all?
What's he saying now?
David Goyer, who wrote BVS and Man of Steel, co-wrote BVS and wrote Man of Steel. He basically had an interview with I think it's Entertainment Weekly or Variety, basically about his entire filmography, going basically all the way back to like the Blade days and stuff like that. And he was talking about, they asked him like, did you have, because they were kind of asking about the Matrix, right? And saying like, in the Matrix, it seems like there's some crazy kind of references to the way that Warner Brothers have kind of our stuff. Did Warner Brothers have any requests there of you, right? And sometimes we talk about stuff and it's like, we kind of think these executives are dumb, right? And they don't know their subject or anything like that. This is the level of dumb these executives are,
Okay.
right? So basically, David Goyer obviously they had the whole script, and they came back, and these executives came back to him and said, look, you need to change the script. And he's like, what part of it? What do I need to change? Right.
Is this for Man of Steel?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, oh, they're like, oh, basically the bit where where Superman's ship has basically come and it gets destroyed, right? Because you can't have his ship getting destroyed. How is Superman going to get back to Krypton, right? And he's like, the first 30 minutes of the film, Krypton gets destroyed. So how this is the level of people that you're pitching to.
Like, I can understand if they're just executives, they don't read the comics, so they don't know that aspect of it. But they must have seen the old school Donna films at some point in their lives to know the basic story of the thing. Like, what the?
Well, they read the script. In the script, it says in the first 30 minutes, like, that Krypton gets destroyed, right? It's like, how? Oh my goodness, that is actually like it that actually like intrigues me, because I kind of think there's actual people. Yeah, but there must be people who are actually watching the film and not realizing that was Krypton at the start or whatever that was getting destroyed. They're just thinking this random planet's getting destroyed and like Superman gets, whatever. Or they might have just thought it didn't get destroyed. They're just a volcano went off or something like that.
No, at the beginning I said I was feeling good. Now you depressing me now. Just the stupidity of human race. It's just too much. It's too much to bear.
It's incredible levels, man. So moving on from that, me and Ash were having a conversation there today about why certain kind of properties and stuff actually get pushed forwards, right? And we've had Sony basically have come out and said that they're pushing forwards a Madame Web film, right? Which is quite funny because Madame Web is blind, right? So all of the news. An old woman, yeah. And basically, all of the news articles of this have got, I think her name's Dakota. I don't know her surname. It's not Fanning. It's the other
Johnson.
one. Dakota Johnson, yeah. And she was in those films, wasn't she?
50 Shades of Grey.
So all of the news articles show her with a blindfold on. From one of those films.
Well done.
They're all using that to show like, oh, she can move over to Madame Web because she's basically got the same. Oh god, it's just hilarious. So would you look forward to a Madame Web film?
Not massively familiar on Madame Web, but I remember that she is a blind old woman that uses tech to kind of emulate spider-like abilities, like electronic webs and shit. But it makes why I don't even think she's a hero, if I remember right. No. Anytime I've seen her, she was a villain. So out of all the characters they could bring first to live action, they've still got Silver Sable sitting around doing nothing. They've still got Spider-Gwen, even
Black Cat, and
they probably have the rights to do a Spider-Woman as well. That's one of those in the middle characters, I guess. Why Madame Web? What
they seem to want to do, like bring all the villains in and then kind of work it around them. So like obviously they had Venom, they got Morbius, Madame Web, Craven.
They're turning them all into heroes. Like, who is Spider-Man going to fight if you make all the villains heroes?
Can you remember in that the only thing I don't know anything about Madame Web apart from, can you remember in that 90s Spider-Man animated when they had Madame Web and the Beyonder, and they basically called Spider-Man, and Spider-Man had to basically get the heroes that he wanted to kind of join him to go and fight against the bad guys like the Green Goblin and stuff like that there basically. And he called on Iron Man and Storm and Wolverine and somebody else, and basically like that was like the most craziest episode ever because he's kind of he kind of called upon all these like characters and stuff, and I just thinking that's the only good thing that I can ever remember about this character. And obviously there's no way in hell that they're gonna have Storm, Wolverine and Iron Man actually turning up. So it's like, why would they even bother, man? It kind of worries me because I kind of think to myself, okay, fine, they went for a Sinister Six idea. Let's, let's chuck in Morbius into Sinister 7 or something, but then you got Madame Web. It's kind of like, okay, what's the plan here? You're just going to throw random characters at us and just say, like,
I'm at the point where I feel like they've got a board somewhere in their offices, whoever's in charge of the Spider-Man properties, and it just has all like playing cards of all the characters that they have the rights to, and someone's just throwing a dart at this board and saying, oh, okay, that one, Morbius, let's make a film about this guy. Who is it? Doesn't matter. The dart hit him. They have no plan. They're just making it up as they go along, just throwing these characters together, and they'll figure it out down the road.
Yeah, wasn't Amy Pascal like, I want to have this universe of like, or basically like female characters and female villains and stuff like that? And I kind of think she's trying to, bring that in kind of like maybe by the back door or something. And it's just like, right, now we've got a success with, the third Spider-Man. Let's jump off that. Let's have these other bits,
That's the double-edged sword. That's the double-edged sword. The success of Spider-Man No Way Home is that Sony got all confident. They probably think, yeah, we don't need Marvel for this. We got it now. We get it now. We can do this.
I'm starting to get a bit disappointed by some of the fans and stuff, because I do like go on a lot of these forums and things, man. It's kind of like every single time now I see something of a film, it's not like what the film's going to be like. All the rumors are like, there's this cameo, there's that cameo, whatever, and people just getting like, yeah, amazing. It's like, dude, you got to kind of like lay low on the cameos and then really hit us with it on like a big film, so it makes more impact. You know what I mean? Yeah. If they start doing it for every single film, which I don't think they're going to do, but obviously fans kind of want it, I think it's just going to lose its sparkle kind of thing. You know what I mean?
The problem is whoever they have on the crew needs to learn to keep their mouth shut and stop spoiling these things. Like, even though we love it because we get to talk about it, but still, that's part of what kind of kills the fun of it and the surprise of it when you see it coming from like 6 months to a year before it actually happens.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because like, all the stuff in the Spider-Man, they had like blue pictures of them in front of blue screen, like literally like 6 months before, and obviously they had to deny it from then, and it still had a big impact there in the film. But somebody was taking photos on set of them in front of a blue screen, which is kind of messed up, to be honest.
And the effects guys were doing of their monitors as well. Yeah,
course, yeah, the effects guys there as well. So yeah, it's just a bit of a weird one. So we'll put that on kind of the back burner kind of thing, I guess. I guess that kind of relies on what Morbius is going to be like, to be honest.
I don't mind them
like what
picking up Dakota Johnson, because I think she's a good actress. It'd be good for her to do something, but I think this could end up being a waste of her, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be a young Madame Web coming up in the ranks until she becomes like old and bitter, and
yeah, they got to completely change her abilities, everything. Like, I don't know what this one's going to be. If it happens.
Well, yeah, exactly.
How long have we been hearing about the Silver Sable Black Cat film, which I don't think's ever gonna
Silver and Black, that's been going on for, and Craven the Hunter, which apparently Aaron Taylor Johnson was kind of has in this, like, what's going on there, man. I never get these things where it's like kind of, okay, there are plenty of people who are like good actors, but also at the same time, like, when you watch an animated or something, it's like there isn't that much of a difference when obviously the voice actors are kind of like acting and stuff like that there. I think Craven the Hunter is meant to be like this huge Siberian dude that you're basically meant to crap yourself about, who wears literally like an actual bear skin like on his flipping shoulder.
Sometimes a bear, sometimes a cheetah or a lion. Like...
You better literally be scared of this dude, because he is just like, he could just hunt anything pretty much.
Ultimate peak human. Yeah, it's like, it makes you think that their meetings, they must be like, okay, who's done a superhero film before? And Aaron Taylor Johnson's name came out for some reason, probably Kick-Ass and the Avengers. They probably didn't even think of the Avengers, because they obviously just aren't thinking full stop. The fact that it's all kind of it's just a mess. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll see what Morbius is like, and then obviously then we can make a decision on Madame Web. Let's keep with Disney there for the moment, and the Book of Boba Fett. What episode is this? Episode 5 or 6? Episode 6. So episode 5 we left with being like, okay, where's Boba? And episode 6,
well, they've hit the formula now. In order to make Book of Boba Fett good, you just don't put Boba Fett in it. No more than 2 seconds or something, which he was on the screen.
Man.
How does the actor feel about this? Just to read the script for the new episode they're shooting and to not be in it or to be there for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you watch like like cricket or anything. Probably not. You probably hate it, right? Because it's probably one of those things that you ever want to watch. But what they do is they have this thing on there and they have like win meter or whatever, and basically it's like a percentage kind of likelihood of one person winning over another, and it can kind of change as it goes along. So I think my personal win meter of Luke coming to meet Boba Fett, right, it's now going higher and higher, right? Because when I said that the last time, we were like, but I'm thinking now, like, so what an amazing story though, right? That
great
basically
episode.
Great episode. We also had the fact that we saw in Mandalorian there before, like the effects on Luke. What they'd done is that they got an actor and did the standard kind of little white dots on the face and stuff, and animated it. And then this dude on YouTube basically went and did a deep fake, right? And they went to him and were like, "Do you want a job?"
They gave him a job, off of the deep fakes, especially the one where he fixed. Where he took the footage from Mandalorian, then he did it his way with deepfake technology, and it looked way better. And ILM gave him a job. Is ILM actually the ones doing the effects for this though?
I don't know. Because
that's who we got.
I didn't read it.
Yeah.
So now, if you saw it, how much better did this look? This technology is still, I don't think 100% there, because there's certain times when they cut away when he's making dialogue, because I think maybe it didn't quite look right, or they couldn't.
Some of the lip sync wasn't there. Like, you could nitpick. Like, there were moments where it just looked amazing, and then other moments where it just looked like really dead. Like, didn't really. I don't know whether it's because they didn't really animate the model of the face, or just the actor who it's all rigged on, wasn't really doing too much expressions in his face. He just didn't want to move too much, not to make it too difficult. So, but still, the leaps and bounds from 1 year ago, from the Mandalorian to now, is crazy. So a year from now, 2 years, dude, who needs access?
Well, this is the thing. I think they kind of. It seems to me like what they're doing is they're really trying to make us believe that the sequels were good, right? Because what I can kind of see from this is like, I think Luke is going to change the way that the Jedi Order is. So before they had no attachments and all this kind of stuff, and I think he's going to change the way that it's basically like, you can have attachments. You've basically got to skirt on the light side and the dark side, but basically fall on the light side and stuff. And that's all going to get us, as we go further along, going towards what we end up with Ben Solo, as in like, he's got his attachments, but also like, like skirts on the light and the dark side, and and
we saw the Jedi Temple, which he ends up destroying as well, being built. That was a cool thing. Like, this episode basically linked everything together. Like, even though we've already got references to like Clone Wars with Ahsoka, but still seeing Cad Bane turn up in live action was like, what the fuck? And
exactly.
You got the prequel stuff, and it's all kind of just all brought together. I love it.
Everything's gonna everything seems like it's really kind of going there together, and like it makes sense now why he's got that Naboo starfighter, and that the woman who is making it, the engineer, she's like, I'm gonna keep that seat for the for the droid in, because he says to at some point, like, let's get rid of this bit, and she's like, no, we'll keep it, because obviously Grogu's gonna go in there now, isn't he? That's his little kind of thing. Even where he's gonna.
I admit, there was a part of me that was like, I'm kind of how much life can they get out of the whole thing of him and Grogu rolling together? But I guess it looks like it's too much of a cash cow, the merchandise they sell of Grogu, so you can't really get rid of that character. So it's back together again.
That is the thing, and Grogu's learning now, right? He's learning the ability with the Force and stuff, and it's quite jokes. It's interesting to see because the thing is, like, a lot of people who are going to be watching this have kids or have had young kids or whatever, and are going to be like watching it as a family and stuff, and kind of like seeing this little toddler. Well, he's not really a toddler; he's 50 years old, but in his species is little kid, but basically like falling over and not being able to do stuff and things like that, and
sticking everything in his mouth,
munching these eating these frogs and stuff like that. And Luke showing a little bit of humor there as well, like not getting kind of like totally annoyed at Grogu by eating the frog. He's actually like just like lifting the frogs out of the thing and stuff.
Did you hear how they did their voice as well? His voice.
Oh, how did they do it?
Basically, it's like the audio version of deepfakes. It's a company that takes audio. They just compile all this audio of him when he was young, not just from Star Wars, but whatever interviews, other films he did when he was young. And the old him did all the dialogue, but they then match it with all this young stuff, and the AI compiles it with the young vocal samples that it has to create this sort of younger version of the voice of him talking. So it's kind of scary, really. That
is scary, because what's going to happen there in the future? I feel sorry for like my kids and their grandkids and stuff, because if somebody doesn't like you, it will suddenly be like, oh, we got a video of this guy beating up a homeless guy or something like that, or like this guy cheated on his wife with this, and we got video to prove it. Right? It's like,
here's the phone calls. It's like
exactly, like literally, you can't exactly do like a video of old man Putin coming on just all the screens in the world, being like, oh, we're gonna, I'm gonna bomb everybody.
North Korea doing that shit with Kim Jong-il, man. He's gonna be living for like 100. He ain't letting him.
That dude's actually lost a ton of weight recently there as well. So people calling him stud jogging because he's lost so much weight, man. Yeah, so overall, very good episode. Do you know what the thing is? They show Boba, but he doesn't even speak in this episode. He just stands there like, and he stands there not even as the main guy, because Fennec Shand is the one who says everything, and he's literally just standing there like this, and it's like, dude, there's nothing to show that you're the leader of these people, man. You should at least be like sitting on a throne or something while people like discussing the stuff, and like, it's just there's no kind of thing to make me think, oh, this is the leader, this is the top guy there.
It's like they did 4 episodes of just pure Boba. And then they decided, they asked around the tables, the floor, and asked everyone, like, is anyone bored of this? Can we just change it back to Mandalorian? Yeah, everyone, okay. Now it's a Mandalorian show. It's
mad. It's mad. They obviously had a plan of stuff that they want to do, because there's a lot of rumors, like, that they're going to bring, like, Han Solo and Leia into stuff and things like that as well. There's been a lot of rumors about, not in this, but in, like, future series and things.
I definitely see... Leia. I'd be surprised about Harrison Ford though, because he always seemed like, because they still kind of need some level of cooperation with the original actors. So he always seemed like he's just over it all now. He just doesn't give a damn. If it was Indiana Jones or something, he'd be like right for it. But with this, who knows? He may just be like, who cares? How much are you gonna pay me? Fine.
Yeah. Pay him for his likeness and tell him to go away. You don't need him anymore. Get that guy Gruber, whatever his name is, to do the voice, and that's it. Boom, then you're done. You know what I mean? That's it. You don't even need him there, man. So it seems like we're all going towards this big kind of battle and stuff like that. There, we end up seeing because Cobb Vanth is quite a cool guy, right? He's basically like somebody that like I would want to be if I was living like this, the sheriff basically. I would be like, you just love to walk around being a badass, like,
I'm surprised how many people were really, cause I was watching some reactions online of people, like compilations, how many people were really upset. Like I've been pretty ambivalent about him, to be honest. Like, he's all right, looking crazy skinny, but whatever. But people were like, oh no, please don't kill him, please. I don't think he's dead, by the way.
No, no, no.
He only got
No, well,
hit
he's
like
not
in the
dead.
shot.
The other guy's dead. The deputy's
Definitely,
dead.
definitely. Yeah, he got
But,
like 5 shots in the chest. He ain't getting up.
Yeah, he was just a standard red shirt,
Yeah.
Star Trek red shirt. He just got shot like an idiot, man. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I think he's gonna obviously come back. He's gonna bring his crew. He's gonna have Bobber's lot. Gonna have some Warrens. Gonna have Machete on the
Yeah.
on all these people coming in. So it's gonna be like a big big thing that is going on, fighting these like basically these villains who all look exactly the same, and it's completely nondescript, like every single Hollywood thing you could ever think of, right?
But
So
any big character's gonna die that has a Cad Bane, no, because he has to jump into it. Now they brought him through.
Bobber, hopefully,
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed, Bobber.
They've
Yeah,
ruined his character enough, man. Just let him die in peace. That's what I feel.
he has to die doing something ridiculously heroic. That's the only way. It's the only way you can save him now. Is like, he has to do that, because he can't. Do you know what? I look at him and I just think, what makes me want to follow you? You know what I mean? Think about the entrance of of they made when they basically, him and Fennec came into that area before Book of Boba Fett even existed, and him and Fennec came into there and they shot the I can't remember what the guy's name in with the bloody little snake thing going around his neck and stuff, who took over from Jabba. And all the henchmen, they just killed them all, and he just went and sat on the throne and just got his bottle of whatever it was, and it's just like, that was so cool. It's like, what have you done now?
No,
It's like he was more than happy to like just murder that dude, and then after that, it's like he's just like, oh, I'm not going to kill anybody. I've got no kill rule. I've got no kill rule now. So, let's move back to DC now. A couple of DC TV things, and Peacemaker. This is episode 6 as well, I think, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
What a hilarious and awesome episode, man. And not only that, John Cena can play the piano.
Yeah, I would have thought his fingers would be way too roided out to be able to press those keys.
Too roided out. Exactly. You see like half the wrestlers, they got like no knees left, no back, their necks are destroyed, like arthritis everywhere. It's like this dude like deft on the piano.
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean?
think this guy may legitimately be like a butterfly in real life, like something, because we can also speak Mandarin as well. Remember that apology he had to give to China?
Oh yeah.
When he how dare he had that he acknowledged Taiwan was a country. He's just apologizing in fluent Mandarin. Like, what the hell?
He might actually be a bit like Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone has got like a genius level IQ. He's got like 160 or something IQ or something like that. Him and Sharon Stone have got the highest IQs in Hollywood. They're like genius level, like literally genius level, right? That's
bizarre.
Which is bizarre. But then when you hear him speak, because obviously he had a stroke when he was a lot younger, you just think like, oh, this guy's a dumbass. You know what I mean? He makes these dumbass films, whatever. But he is a legit genius, like genius level.
Better movies. Like, he started good. He started really good for like the first decade or so, but then he just kind of devolved into some bullshit.
So that's the thing. You kind of think, okay, well, this this guy John Cena might actually be kind of like that, where he's legit genius level IQ.
You say he's a genius, I say he's a butterfly agent.
He's a butterfly. He's a butterfly agent. Human race. Dude, I can't understand the plot now. I've actually lost it, because I'm kind of thinking, okay, basically like, okay, but because I don't know, I must have missed something there before, because there was that guy who was the head of the police. He basically was the inside man or whatever. Yeah. For some reason, I thought that dude was a butterfly. I don't know why.
So did I. It didn't make any sense for him not to be, because he's the way he acts like a robot, the way he just seems to kill everybody. So what was his? Was he just an assassin? Just had what was the? Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and then a butterfly enters him. It's like. What? So bizarre. So basically we obviously see in this like the team, they've now kind of let the white dragon. Oh my god, I shouldn't laugh at this guy's jokes because they're so wrong. But I don't know, they've just like made him just like absolute, just like a piece of crap guy, right? Yeah. Full on like Nazi, like but he's Nazis. Just exactly literally like the head of the Nazis basically. And it's like they have this thing where they kind of have to let him free, and then they realize, okay, well, actually Peacemaker is the guy who's kind of behind everything. So the police go and they try and find Peacemaker, and basically go to his crappy
You reminded me now of the scene of them running and just eagerly just taking out.
That was the maddest thing
so
ever,
cool.
man.
That was so cool.
It was like you could hear him. You suddenly hear him, and then he just bang like that. Because these eagles can drop at like 150 miles an hour. You know what I mean? So he was literally just tearing it up, man. Eagerly killed it,
poking out their faces. It was mad. It was nuts.
Check this out, though. Okay, so he's meant to be a wanted felon, right? From the start, he's a wanted felon. They don't know where he is, whatever, right? But the dude shows up to do a show and tell at this guy's at the janitor's kids' school, right? And that is just hilarious, man. As a DC fan, I was just cracking up throughout the entire thing, man. Like, yeah, do you know the Flash? Oh no, he's a douchebag. Like everybody else that meets him, that calls him a douche or whatever. Oh yeah, do you know Wonder Woman? Yeah, she IF'd me from the other side of the room. It's like, mate, this is like some wrong exchanges, man. Seriously. So. And then he gets vexed because basically they're like, "Oh, do you have like a villains gallery?" And he's like, "No," like that, and just like so annoyed because he's basically got nobody apart from Kite Man, who he took.
He just keeps going about Kite Man. Just love Kite Man. I wish they brought Kite Man. Please bring Kite Man into this show.
Yeah, I really hope they bring it, because it's like, oh yeah, Kite Man was he's like the most craziest villain of all time. It's like, mate, Kite Man is not the craziest villain of all time. He's like the most pathetic, like literally the most pathetic guy out there. So yeah, his claim to fame is literally that he caught. And the thing is, if you think about it, right, him and Vigilante were obviously going around and killing so-called bad guys, but also crap loads of collateral damage, which is why he ended up in Belle Reve, basically, right? But his claim to fame amongst all those people, like Bloodsport, who basically Bloodsport shot Superman and put him in the ICU. This dude took down Kite Man, you know what I mean?
Which one kid pointed out probably wasn't even his doing, because whatever he stole was so heavy that a kite couldn't carry that weight.
Exactly. The kid just like, just figured it out straight away, man, which is so hilarious. So yeah, and he looks like such a goon, man, like standing there with his helmet on and stuff, like in front of these kids, like looks like such an idiot, man. But yeah, so yeah, he's obviously loving it, doing the show and tell and stuff. Vigilante, awesome again, just as an absolute idiot, like psycho idiot, basically.
Psycho is the word. Scary.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he could have quite easily, when they're trying to escape the trailer, just like climbed up there and then handed him the glass jar first, and then climbed up. This dude's duct taping the bloody butterfly to himself.
I can see that. As soon as they started doing it, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna drop on that.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then obviously the butterfly goes into the policewoman. The detective is kind of leading it.
That's a shame. I liked her. There's a shame.
Yeah, and we end up with like this scene that I thought was the coolest thing ever, with these little, which is almost something out of imagine like a really crazy version of Men in Black, where you just got all these little kind of ships and all these butterflies just appear, and she's being followed by these butterflies, and they're all just going into people and stuff like that. It's just mad, like literally just like the entire police force is like butterflies.
Do you think that police officer, the big one in charge that was on Mer's side, was a butterfly, someone who's on his side? And what we have now, what we'll find out next week, is that these two different butterflies are in his, like, fighting over control of him in his head.
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, man, because it's weird. Like all the butterflies that we've seen so far are that blue glow butterfly, right? And at the end of this, I was so confused. I was thinking, are they gonna make it that the Nazis are like the good guys?
Oh my god, they're gonna be fighting with them again. No, James Gunn can't do that. He's smart enough not to do that.
I was like, he can't. Like, it's like basically
No
like,
way.
who do you root for? Do you root for the butterflies, or because they're clearly going to be fighting like against each other? Obviously, he's gonna. I think they're all just going to be going against Peacemaker. That's like the main thing, basically. Like, you know, so. Rob Patrick basically puts on his like, you know, his white dragon suit and stuff like that, and it's like these guys are literal like full on, like they're all wearing their white hoods and stuff, and it's like, my goodness, man, it's just so wrong, man. And that's, you know, he's got that like underground in his, you know, in his thing. Or something. Isn't the one of the heads of the Ku Klux Klan called a dragon or something?
I think they call him like Supreme Dragon, and
something like that. So
that White Dragon makes sense, actually. Now that
exactly.
Wow.
So they've got like 2 episodes left of this Peacemaker, right? And obviously it's going to be the culmination. I think is going to be Joe. I would just love it if Kite Man comes to help out Peacemaker or something like that. It would just be there, like basically like they're surrounded, and then Kite Man flies in and picks him up, and they fly off on this kite or something. It would just be, oh my goodness me, man. This show has, you know, surprised me at how, like, you know, hilarious it's been. I honestly didn't expect it to be this kind of bizarre and weird and just like, you know, it's like the thing is like, compare it to say something like Doom Patrol, which is weird as anything. Doom Patrol is like crazy odd, but it's not actually done in the way to kind of make you laugh at it. It's just like, this is weird, like, you know, what do you think about it, you know? So with this is actually like full on, like this potentially could actually happen, you know.
It's a lot more, you know, grounded. What's mad is that we can see that it's not a crazily budgeted show. They don't do anything which is like, you know, outlet like what we see sometimes with the Star Wars shows, where you just think, you can't believe it, this is TV. Some of the stuff that they're doing, like with Luke. This the budget for Peacemaker can't be that much more than what they spend on some of the CW shows. Yet look at the difference in the quality when you give a shit, or you have competence, ability. Like, it's just crazy. They should feel like shit. The people at Warner CW must just look at themselves in the mirror and feel ashamed of what they make.
They should be, and we'll be coming to that there a bit later on. So don't worry about that. However, one show on CW, which I don't know whether it's just on CW just for the fact of being on CW and actually has nothing to do with CW, Superman and Lois, saw episode 5 there. I think this was 4 actually. This is episode 4. And once again, obviously seeing Bizarro. It seems to be a very kind of strange connection between him and Bizarro. I kind of thought this is more like a filler episode. I didn't really think there was a lot that kind of happened in there. I'm
starting to feel like I'm seeing some of the strings now a little bit with this show. Like, now how I've always said with CW, it can start good, it can look amazing, but the longer the show lasts, the less care they seem to put into it. And not that this was like a sudden massive drop or anything, but little things that, like Bizarro, whose makeup looks like it's basically talcum powder and black marker, basically seems to comprise of what that makeup is. It seems like they're starting to cut a few corners here and there where I'm starting to feel like, and they're focusing so much more on the melodrama of, you know, the sister is in the cult and the kids and their bullshit. And I think, I don't know.
Do you think they're focusing more on that because they don't have the budget to do?
It's looking like the budget's getting cut a little, so they're trying to just find other things. But just cut the show by 15 minutes, then I'll be fine with it being 15 minutes shorter, so I don't have to deal with the sister being in a cult. I don't care about that. I don't want to see that.
I think they're kind of thinking, okay, Superman and Lois, so we have to put loads more Lois stuff into this. But I couldn't care less about who that person is, you know, what the cult is or whatever. I want to see, you know, who's behind, you know, the cult, you know, what the cult is or whatever. You know, I'm kind of, I want to see, you know, who's behind, you know, the cult or whatever. You know, I'm kind of, I want to see, you know, who's behind, you know, the cult or whatever. You know, I'm kind of, I want to see, you know, who's behind, you know, the Bizarro, right? I want to see, is it Lex? Is it, no, in this show it's probably gonna be Lex's sister, like it's gonna be Lex's sister, and it's gonna be like, but this is the thing, like I think you're right. Like, how much legs can this show have? Because once you're getting past this kind of level, and it's kind of like, okay, we've got we've got Bizarro now. Okay, where are you gonna go? Lobo, Brainiac, Doomsday, Dark Side. How much budget are you gonna have to bring those kind of things there, basically, and have those kind of things going on? Probably not a great deal. And you can see, obviously, once it gets to those kind of levels, that they can do things with camera tricks and stuff like that, but after a while it gets a little bit, it's kind of like the main fight, they went to the salt flats in Bolivia, right? Because there's nothing there, right? It's just salt flats, right? So you don't have to draw in any mountains or anything like that. It's literally just a shimmering surface behind you and just salt, basically, and the two main characters fighting each other. So very easy for the people who are doing it, man. That's the thing. Like, I mean, if they wanted to do it, they could go. They could go slave labor levels and get somebody in Hong Kong to do it for like probably half the price, the CGI kind of missions, so that's the thing. But yeah, it's, the story is okay, but it's kind of like, this to me seemed like much of a filler episode, because I didn't see it go much further. I was like, how much further is this actually going? Apart from the fact that, it seems like the kid with the powers obviously is is being trained now by General Lane, so obviously
he's gonna, so what could go wrong? That ain't gonna blow up in anyone's face.
exactly. And do you know what, you're so right about the junkiness, because do you know they made his pupils dilate and everything, right? So it's like that is jokes. They actually made his pupils dilate like a full-on junkie, right, when he's taking this stuff. And he literally has got like what's it called, Thundercat sight beyond sight, right? He can see far ahead, and his passes are now super accurate and stuff, and he is definitely going to get addicted to this stuff there as well. And I think at some point, Clark is going to see his dilated pupils, and it's going to be like, what are you on? You're taking something, whatever. It's going to be quite funny. So that is the way to kind of get around it.
They killed 2 of the Supermen of America as well already. It's pretty quick, so we knew they were going to be cannon fodder for Bizarro.
Bizarro, yeah. I mean, that, they, do you know that one of the other guys, do you know, I don't know if you remember, like in the 80s, there was always this dude who would turn up, and he was like a teenager, who would turn up in literally every single, like, Three Ninjas and Turtles, and like literally every single martial arts thing that you could think of. It's like an American, Asian American dude, and it's like, do you remember? I don't know if you can remember. He had like a long mullet. He had like a mullet kind of haircut and stuff. Definitely. If you saw a picture, then you kind of know. But that dude could almost be his son, right? he looks really similar. He's got the mullet going. It's like literally like that dude who is the Superman of America who's left. I was thinking, wow, this guy looks super similar to that other guy, even the haircut and everything, man. So
what do you think that chain is?
I think it's just
absorbing power.
I think that's basically it. So Bizarro is obviously made in a lab underground, and basically like he needs some way of taking power, and I think it's going to be some kind of like Ultraman kind of deal, so like Ultraman didn't gain his power from the sun, he gained it from kryptonite. I think this guy probably gains his power from Superman, but doesn't have any direct power that he can gain from the sun, and I think that's probably what they're going to end up using against it. One thing that annoys me more than anything in this show, literally, like I can't watch it sometimes when I see this, is why the hell has he got a 5 o'clock shadow, right? It's like, dude, why? Like literally, like if I saw, if you saw Clark and then you saw Superman, and it's like both these dudes are like 5 days unshaven or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's like, mate,
Yeah.
at least try and camouflage yourself like slightly. Like it's like he's basically making no effort to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to my trailer, I'm gonna have a nice shave, whatever. I'm gonna go and do. It's just like, mate, come on. Some people, they do have that thing where their faces look gray, when they're kind of like,
but you do expect Superman to be clean shaven, especially like the old Donner ones, where even when whichever one was it, Superman 3, when the bad one
when
came
he
along,
was,
and that's when they gave him the stubble to kind of emphasize he was the bad one.
Yeah, exactly, because everybody with stubble is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was meant to be like, the whole point of having stubble in these shows is like you're not looking after yourself.
Yeah.
The same way that Superman was not looking after himself, basically. So, yeah, it was. I don't know, average episode, but let's see how it progresses there later on, man.
I don't quickly mention, I haven't finished watching it, but because we started recording this, but I started watching that Catwoman Hunted.
Okay.
Animated, and so far it's actually pretty interesting because it's different than all the other DC animated films in that it looks like they've genuinely gone to a Japanese studio to not just animate it but also direct it, so it actually has genuine anime vibes to it, the way it looks and some of the interactions in it. Yeah, so I'm actually very interested to see where this one goes because very different. I like that.
Yeah,
has a unique style to it.
I didn't even know it was out, so I think I will go and check that mission out there. Have you checked out Star Wars Ronin yet?
No, not yet.
So because I've been listening to it, I've listened to about 40 minutes or so of this 12 hour, was 13 hours long, basically, like this thing. So yeah, I've just been listening to the first 40 minutes or so of it. Pretty damn good, like all the other ones, man. So and the first 40 minutes is pretty much all the stuff that we saw in the thing. So that means that they've got literally 12 hours of additional stuff, which is different to that kind of bit. So it goes hasn't quite gone much further than that there in the bits that I've listened to.
All right, I'm definitely getting into that then.
Definitely get into that, and we'll try and review it for you guys there. Because it's a long thing, and it is like, it's one of those things. I was kind of starting it, and I was like, I just want to keep listening there just continuously, man. So on those commutes, it'll be a good thing. So, we've got the Batman, which is coming out in how many days now? It's the 6th now, right? So it's 22 plus 4, 26 days time, which is apparently tracking for 150 million opening.
It's gonna be big.
Which is big, right? Which is very, very big, man. So yeah, and I guess that's worldwide rather than just the US or domestic box office or whatever. So that is interesting, man. I've actually I sometimes go into London and stuff there to work, and for the first time I've actually seen like loads of posters based on like one thing, just like loads of advertising just like everywhere, man. I went into central London, just like Batman posters everywhere, like literally just on Riddler posters, the just like one that is just literally red and just says the Batman on it in black and then March the 4th. It's like, wow, literally like that is your advertising for this. So they're obviously going quite heavy on the advertising for this thing. And even though it does have a smaller budget than some of the others, 100 million budget as opposed to some of the others like BVS, which is 400 apparently. I guess they're spending a lot of money on the advertising, like big time. So they're probably expecting this to be to go quite big. But given what I heard David Goyer say about Warner Brothers executives, I had no idea. So,
and given what we're about to get into, I'm actually curious to see how people after the first week, how it's going to be perceived by the public. So, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So, shout out to our inside agent. We'll just refer to you as that. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. So yeah, they got to see a test screening of it, I presume. And this is what we said. We gave him some questions, me and us, and this is what he had to say. So me, did you see the 3-hour or 4-hour cut? Yeah, get comfortable, guys, because there's a lot here. So I saw the theatrical cut. The story proper is nearly 3 hours because of fairly short credits, as it's relatively lower budget, like you said, 100 million, with little CGI and action set pieces. I can already see audiences complaining about it being too long and boring, but it unfolds like a true crime detective story with clues leading to other clues, leading to a web of corruption. Despite the budget, the cinematography looks meticulous, like a David Fincher movie. It's not the typical superhero movie aimed at kids. It would be like taking your kids to see Zodiac or Seven.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's not a massive amount of action, but you know, people
that,
say
I think it's going to be.
people say they want a detective movie, and looks like that's what we're getting for real.
Yeah, I think that's going to be because I saw some tweets that somebody wrote about, you know, who's about somebody else had seen it, who said that it's going to be controversial, and I think that's probably going to be the main point, is that people are going to be like, there's going to be a lot of people going to be like, oh, it's a Batman film, and it's like you know, I said what my mum said when she saw the trailer. She's like, oh, Batman shouldn't be like sinister it, because she's thinking of obviously the 1966 Adam West Batman, right? But there's going to be a lot of people who are looking at this thinking, right, I just want Batman to beat up the Joker and things like that. However, when you look at the Joker's success, and that being mainly a psychological kind of, you know, going into his mindset and stuff like that,
and rated R,
and that made $1 billion. I got to kind of think, okay, maybe there is some legs to this. So yeah, carry on, man.
Okay. 2, how is Patterson's Bruce Wayne and his Batman? Patterson is doing a shy, reclusive take of a solitary man who is more comfortable masked than unmasked. There is no Bruce Wayne playboy persona at all. He barely speaks to Alfred. He is shy and aloof, and the film shows from the start how he behaves like a serial killer and how his actions mirror that of the Riddlers. This Batman is unpolished in his skills. He's knocked out unconscious at least 3 times, although to be fair, he's surrounded by thugs. Not far off from the guys wearing hockey pants in The Dark Knight. So he's basically on their level in terms of, you know, not really knowing what he's doing, because he's new to it, innit? So
he's new to it.
Yeah, he's asking. The film is bookend. This is interesting, with his internal monologue, like the comics. So at the beginning and at the end, which I wish there was more of, he says. So that's interesting. Like, again, like a detective noir. Where it always starts with the detective, you know, talking at the beginning and then wrapping things up at the end. So that's interesting.
Yeah, like a Sin City kind of, you know, kind of style, which kind of intrigues me, man, because like, yeah, I mean, you know, Sin City had that overall kind of, you know, narrative kind of thing there as well. I think that idea of, you know, Batman just being completely kind of off his rocker is another one that's going to be controversial on some people, because some people are going to be like, what the hell? But actually, if you think about it, if a dude dressed up like that, right, and went out every night, and just started beating people up and asking, like, you know, like, because when you see like The Dark Knight and stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, he's the world's greatest detective, dude literally grabs people and it just like tell me where they are. Exactly. It's like, that's not detective. That is basically threatening people until you get an answer. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could understand it, man. So
3.
Some more?
Do they play out the Murder Alley incident again? No. Thomas and Martha Wayne do factor into the story, although do not expect anything on the level of the Telltale Batman games. The film assumes you already know who the Batman is, although there is a character arc to his purpose in Gotham.
Okay.
Interesting. 4. Are other Rogues Gallery villains teased? Briefly, including someone wearing a lot of prosthetic makeup, which is partially obscured but looks like a cross between a human and a possum, and will probably disturb children. I don't know who the hell.
Human and a possum. Okay, now I'm going to be thinking this is to tease into Ratcatcher and the Weasel. Right?
Oh, please let it be Weasel. That'd be amazing.
Weasel, yeah.
Make Weasel the Nick Fury of the DC universe of all the
My
films.
God, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say it's darker than Nolan's Dark Knight? It's a cliche to say, but this movie makes The Dark Knight look like Batman 89.
Oh, wow.
It is ultra serious with no jokes or quips seen in the Nolan or Batman movies, although Batman and Catwoman scenes are quite melancholy, like Batman Returns or The Long Halloween. I say it's closest to the comics as it is mostly people talking, but even the comics have some humor. The dialogue and tone is very dry and depressing, written realistically with nothing as quotable as Nolan's lofty dialogue. It is a homage to Seven visually and structurally, perhaps to a fault, as Seven is a better film in my opinion. And I think the story is burdened by the PG-13 rating, as well as a homage to detective and mafia movies. The police commissioner resembles Marlon Brando's Don Corleone. Penguin resembles Al Capone in The Untouchables, and Carmine Falco resembles Michael Corleone in The Godfather 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether that's
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably just physicality. I don't think that
physicality
necessarily we've had a characters act, but we don't know. We don't know. But yeah, it makes the Dark Knight look like Batman 89. That's
yeah, exactly. Honestly, man, some people are gonna hate this. I'm telling you, people are gonna.
I'm curious now after the first week.
This, yeah, I think it's gonna get crazy box office to start off with.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not gonna get repeat viewings, right? Because you're basically gonna have, say like with Spider-Man. You basically get that high of going in, everybody's cheering, all this kind of stuff, and it's like a junkie, you got to get that high again, right? So it's like people just go back in and try and get it, and obviously it's not the same, so you go in there again. I think in a film like this, it's going to be a lot more difficult for somebody to go in and watch it there again, although I do think when it comes out on streaming again, 40, I think it's 40 something. Yeah, I think it's going to go crazy because people are just going to watch it like mad. It's kind of like one of those things that you can.
Yeah, when you think of films like Seven and Zodiac, as great as those films are, which I love those films, you don't necessarily want to jump back in straight away to watch them again. It takes a minute to process it and to be in the headspace to go that deep into like a really serious, ultra serious, depressing world.
I like the idea, what he was saying there before, where it was like, so it's one of the things that I always hate in films is the fact that you just get this overpowered protagonist, right? Who there's no kind of likelihood of them, danger or anything like that. The fact he gets knocked out twice makes me think this guy is suicidal because he's basically wants to get killed by these villains, and that's the reason why he's kind of doing it, because he's never got over that thing with his parents and stuff like that there, basically. Carry on, man.
This one was something I asked because I heard that the rating, part of the description of even though it's PG-13, some of the ratings said there was like mildly sexual situations. So I asked him whether there was like a sex scene in there, whether it's true or not. And he said, no, there's no sex scenes. A lot of romantic chemistry between Batman and Selina, or way more romantic chemistry between Batman and Selina than there was between Icarus and Cersei. I asked him whether if there was a sex scene, how does it compare to the Eternals one? Whether it's as pointless as that one. But he says like, nah, but they've got better chemistry than those two. He said he felt in the same vein as Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, which they do chemistry in that film, so that's cool. How much of Catwoman's backstory do we see? Mostly is exposition. Her backstory and character motivations are intertwined with the plot. But I'd say 95% of the time we're following Batman and Bruce. Or Bruce. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And now into your ones that you asked. Does it link to anything else? Example, Joker. It is standalone with no ties either to the DC, EU, or other DC films. So no connection to that.
Okay, because there was a thing there before where they were saying like there's two endings or something, and potentially like they've had one of the endings there was teasing like a Joker or something, and I guess that's in the 4-hour cut, which people will probably not want to watch. So yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
And then you asked, do the trailers show the story? The trailers do spoil a lot, particularly the action scenes, as this is not an action or superhero movie. It says in brackets, it is mainly Batman and Gordon following a string of clues as the main plot, with Catwoman's story as a subplot. But then he does say the trailer is definitely meant to mislead, so try and erase everything about it before going in. I was momentarily confused at one point because of my preconceptions of the trailers. So I guess the action intensity that the trailers have, it literally shows every action beat that is going to be in the film. There's no other surprise fight or action scene that wouldn't have seen.
Which is why some of the reviews are going to be off, because basically like it's selling the film as this action kind of film and stuff, and it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be more like arty and like kind of based on that kind of thing,
which we had clues of when last week we were talking about how Reeves said that when he read Affleck's Batman script, that was more of a traditional dark action movie where he didn't want to do that.
So there's going to be an even bigger split in DC fandom, that they're going to want more people going to be like, bring Affleck back, blah blah, because he had a very action based script and this is like too dark. And I think there's going to be from what the source is saying, should we think of something? I'm thinking something else. I'm thinking calling the Oracle or something.
I have done in past. I have
done. So what he's saying, it basically seems like they obviously are taking some comic book kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of like where you had the Joker film, where it was like we're putting the Joker name on it to forward this film, more than being a straight up following the comic books version of Joker. And that could have been anyone, but because it was Joker, more people saw it. I think kind of with this there as well, it's kind of like, okay, we're following that that Batman kind of template. And I think maybe if they stated this is like Black Label or something like that,
like a little subtitle,
so it's kind of like like the Aquaman stuff and Shazam and all that. Okay, that's DC, right? And then you've got DC Black Label presents the Batman, right? So it's kind of like, then it's like, okay, now that this is a different take on it and stuff like that, because there are so many people who don't read any comic books anyway, who are going to have their idea of the way that they want this thing to be, right? Their idea of how they want something to be shown and stuff like that. So there's a lot of kind of information that has come out from the book, because some people have now read the book as well, which I can't bloody get hold of, right? Because I've tried. But there is a prequel book which is called Before the Batman, which is coming out here on March the 1st, and the film comes out on March the 4th. Gives us a lot more information about Bruce. So basically, he was a street racer from the age of 16 and built the Batmobile himself to make it the fastest car that it could do, so that it would beat other street racers, like leave them for dust. Basically, that's the reason why he made it. His suit, the reason why it's, when he walks through that thing and there's machine guns hitting it and stuff, is there's some experimental metal that it's made out of. And that can deflect machine gun bullets. But what about your face, mate?
Just the concussive force of getting hit. That's what people always said about in BVS, when Affleck gets shot in the head at point blank range. Like, sure, it can be bulletproof, but just the impact on your skull, man, will rattle your brain and you'd be concussed right away.
It needs to be like absorbative, if it's kind of like that, just absorbs the force. So so even with this, like, he's getting shot by machine guns, like just one ricochets from there to there,
empty space. Oh man,
I mean, you're finished. So so there's that there as well. Alfred is ex-SAS. You know, so he's been doing that there, and basically, you know, all the other things that the source is kind of saying about, you know, the way that he is, like, you know, super reclusive, and all that kind of.
We'll call
there
him
as
the
well.
Oracle. You are now
We'll call him the
hereby
Oracle.
known as the Oracle anytime you help us out. So
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be known as the Oracle, but not the Barbara Gordon one. Some other,
one's a better Oracle.
a better one. Yeah. So yeah, guys, let us know what you think about that information, because obviously there is quite a lot of info there.
It's gonna be a shame that he barely even talks to Alfred. That's a shame.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. Is that going to change by the end? I don't know. Yeah, the kind of thing that concerns me a little bit is, like, when you think about Seven and, you know, Zodiac and stuff like that, it's kind of like, I understand it, but those films are obviously targeted for adult audiences, and because of that, there's certain things that they do, which is like, I mean, in the Zodiac, there's a scene where he gets his first two victims and ties them up. He just like stabbing them like this, and then the guy's rolling around like that. I mean, the guy survives, didn't he? Didn't the guy survive or something? But the guy survived. The girl didn't survive, right? And he's just stabbing. She's like rolling around. And it's like, you can't get away with that in a bloody PG-13 unless you were the type of person who that made me laugh. The type of person the Oracle said would take the kid to watch Seven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, this is what baffles me though, because they had the guts to make the Joker, you know, 18 or R. If this is obviously from the get-go a grown-up movie in its tone, unless, you know, Matt Reeves wanted to make this a PG, just the way he made it from the beginning. But what's the point in it being PG when kids aren't going to want to sit through this 3-hour talking movie detective story? That they're not going to be entertained by this. Beyond
That's
that
true,
first
but it's
week,
the marketing, right? It's the marketing, isn't it?
But after that, you don't want to suddenly have all that bad will of people thinking it was one thing and then coming out crapping on it.
That is true, and I think that is going to be part of the thing, that a lot of people are going to watch it and be like, "Oh, I thought this is going to be something else." Because a lot of people don't have patience, man. A lot of people just like, you know, I can't. It's like, that's the thing. Like we watched, right? With quick aside, we watched with the kids Short Circuit yesterday, because I thought, okay, let's just watch like an 80s film with the kids. You know, they can, you know, because you think, okay, 80s films are kind of like a bit more harmless and stuff like that, and it's like, mate, this film, right? Honestly, I don't even know how my parents let me watch this.
It's
right?
racist as hell.
It's not only that, there's some of the stuff the guy's saying in there, right, which is so bad. It's like, what the hell, man? I just let my 70, like, obviously he doesn't know what these things mean, but there's a bit where the dude's like sitting in there and he's talking to Steve Guttenberg, and he's the Indian guy, and he's like, oh, she looks very nice. I have a Woody right now. And it's like, what the fuck? You talking about? Man's talking about. He's like, oh, I can feel it. It's like, what on earth, dude? This is just wrong. He's like, you know, when they first meet the woman who's looking after Short Circuit, you know, Johnny Five, he goes, I think she is a virgin. Like that. It's like, what the hell, dude? Who wrote that in the script?
Was different. Like, you didn't even know. You couldn't even guarantee that you wouldn't see like a woman topless in a PG film back in the day, because sometimes you would. Like, I think Earth Girls Are Easy, I think, had a topless scene in it.
Yeah,
it was like mad. But mainly the fact that it's playing an Indian man. Like, that's what I didn't even realize that until I was an adult.
No, the other guy in it. Yeah. But that guy is an English. He's an American dude.
Yeah, like, exactly. I was an adult when I realized that. I was like, hold up, what? That's so insane.
It's so funny. The thing is, you think about it now. I saw a thing there today where Aquafina has basically had to apologize, because apparently when she talks, she kind of uses words that make her sound like a black person in America. So
she used to be a rapper. She's from New York, so all she's talking is New York talk. So it's just people being ultra sensitive over nothing.
She's been asked to apologize about it. It's like, dude, there's a white guy with a browned up face.
Yeah, that's something to apologize
doing
for.
The most exaggerated exaggerated Indian thing I've ever seen in my life.
Mad,
Oh
mad.
man, it's so wrong, so
But
wrong.
Before we wrap up though, if Catwoman is cool in the movie as she appears to be in the trailers, what's the you know how Warner Brothers operates as well? What's the chances she gets her own?
I'd say
spin-off?
probably highly likely, which means that then Black Cat and Silver Sable are off the table,
Yeah,
right?
you wait too long.
Because they're done for, man. They are absolutely done for. So yeah, I think that is likely, but the question is what way is she portrayed in there? I mean, obviously she's doing heists and stuff like that, and I guess like, you know, she's breaking into things, and they can show that there again. Or they can show a prequel version of her doing that and stuff, which is cool. But at the same time, like, if it is this ultra dark Zodiac style film, who the hell's going to watch that? Right? Because what is the target audience for that? Right? You know, you could because the whole thing in all of this is like, okay, whatever you say for example about the first Suicide Squad, it was popular amongst some people, like, you know, it came out just in August, and then Halloween came and everybody's wearing the Harley Quinn stuff, and, you know, just like, it's basically like, that's the thing. Like in this, I can't see that taking off in the same kind of way, although I'm still super looking forward to it, because I kind of, you know, kind of
still think it's going to be a good film. It's just not going to be the film that a lot of people expect it to be. So, yeah.
Well, it doesn't. The thing is, also, it doesn't need to be, because then you've got the kind of opportunity in the next one, right? That basically, like, okay, fine, now he's going to get trained a bit more, like maybe speaking to Alfred a bit more, he's going to get trained a bit more, you know, he's going to use certain tactics and stuff like that there, and now he can go one-on-one with these kind of, you know, villains and stuff like that. Whereas right now his thing is basically, all I can do is solve crimes, because I ain't got a clue about how to fight somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Even though he still seems to be inflicting plenty of damage when he fights, if the trailers or anything to go by, but we'll see in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll see in a few weeks time, man. So
thank you, Oracle, much appreciated.
Yeah, the Oracle has spoken, man, and as that, let's say, guys, if you have anything to say about that, you can email us on DC